Have two cars on this system. One car goes up while the other car comes down. Now we are permanently attached to each other, so one car cannot leave without the other. So as we leave the lower terminal on this side of the building heading up the mountain, the other car is leaving the upper terminal on the other side of the building heading down the mountain. When we arrive at the top, they arrive at the bottom. Then we reverse directions and we go back and forth, very much like an old-fashioned clothesline or up and down like a seesaw or teeter-totter. We are not like a gondola system, folks. We don't have those many cars that go round and round. We just have the two cars that go back and forth. Now folks, I do realize it is quite crowded on the car here today. There may be some things that I point out to you you can't quite see, but when you get to the top, on your decks, folks, that's your $1 million view. Now one of the very first things you can see if you look to the right of the back window is the town of Jasper. Now it is in the valley floor. Its elevation is about 1,100 meters. Permanent population in Jasper, we're still saying it's around 5,000 people. Although with the fire last year, it's probably closer to 4,000 people right now. But we are expecting most people to rebuild and come back to the town, bringing it back to that 5,000 person mark. Now Jasper also has what's known as a ghost population. Now that can be as much as 1,500 people, and it makes up the seasonal workers that you see at a variety of places around town. That's why you hear a variety of different accents, including at this facility here. Now in the summer months, with the tourists, we usually max out around 25,000 people in the area. Again, because of the fire, we lost a couple hotels, a bit of our camping, a bit of our cottages, so we're probably going to max out about 18,000 people in the area, okay? So when we left the lower terminal, we were at an elevation of about 1,300 meters. Now that's about 200 meters above the valley floor. When we arrive at the top, we're going to be at about 2,300 meters. That's about 200 meters below the summit. That's a 1 kilometer, 1,000 meter vertical lift. Remember that number, folks. And the track that we follow is about 2.2 kilometers in length, and our total time up the mountain from the bottom to the top is about 7.5 minutes. Now, if you've been in Jasper for a day or two, you may notice there's lots of trains that come through town. Jasper is on the main line for the Canadian National Railroad. We can have a train coming through town as often as about every 15 minutes. And these days they're so long that they don't fit into our yard. They're about 5 kilometers long when they come through town, folks. Now, we are soon going to come up to and pass around our single support tower. As we do so, we're going to change the angle going up the mountain. Now, we are on a pivot above us. What's going to happen is the car is going to sway a little bit from front to back. Now, it's very gentle. It's kind of like being on a big swing or on a chairlift. But just watch you don't lose your balance, folks. That's the important thing. So here we go. There's the push. And that's the release. And that's about as close as we get to a roller coaster, folks. Now, if you look off to my immediate right, you'll see the other set of cables. If you follow them up the mountain and behind me, you'll now see our other car coming down. Of course, we are going to pass it at exactly halfway. Our traveling speed today is 6.5 meters per second. It's about 23 kilometers an hour. So when we pass the other car, it's like passing a car on the highway. You add the two speeds together. So we're going to pass it at a relative speed of about 46 kilometers an hour. Now it does go by quite quickly, folks. I'd like to give them a little wave as they go by. There they go. And you can see they're quite busy also. Now, folks, since it is a little bit crowded and we have such a good view of the mountains today, what I'm going to do is give you a panoramic view of the mountain, starting off to my left, working my way around the back of the car back to this mountain here. That way everybody gets a little bit of a view. Now, if you look to the far left, cutting off the valley, about 20 kilometers from here is the Yellowhead Mountain Range. It's part of the Alberta-BC border. It's also part of the Continental Divide. Now, that means that all the waters to the west of it will flow to the Pacific Ocean. All the waters to the east flow either to the Atlantic or the Arctic Ocean. It is part of the spine that goes up and down North America from Alaska all the way down into Mexico. Now, from that mountain range almost directly behind us, excuse me, we have the Victoria Cross Mountain Range. A lot of the peaks in that range are named after recipients of the Victoria Cross Medal, except notably the last mountain in the range, almost directly behind us, aptly named Pyramid Mountain. Now, Pyramid Mountain is the tallest mountain in the immediate area that we can see as we go up and down the tram at just under 3,000 meters tall. Again, remember that number, folks. To the right of the back window behind the town of Jasper, that gray mountain range is the Colin Mountain Range. To the far right, we have the Moline Mountain Range. The first sloping mountain is Signal Mountain. The first bold-faced mountain is Mount Takara. Now, the mountain range that we are in is called the Trident Mountain Range, and this is the Whistlers with an S. We are not Whistler Mountain in BC, folks. There is no skiing on this mountain. As you can see, the outer shell is made up of very loose rock. We call that loose rock scree. You don't ski on scree, folks. It just doesn't make very good ski runs. So we are soon going to come up to and pass above the tree line. Now, the tree line on this mountain and in this area is at about 2,100 meters. About a third of Jasper National Park is actually above the tree line. You'll notice the last few trees are quite small, quite sparse. The growing season up here is very short, about 60 to 90 days. The little trees go about 1 millimeter per year. Those little trees are over 200 years old. So above the tree line, we are in an alpine tundra. We have mosses, we have wildflowers. Again, because of that very short growing season, it takes about 50 years for a flower to bloom up here. And we have lichen. Now lichen is all this black and green, sometimes orange and yellow algae that's attached itself to the rocks. Lichen is very important in the alpine because it's an important food source for the little animals that live up here. So folks, do remember you are in a national park. It is illegal to remove any of the natural features anywhere in the park. As they say, take only photographs, leave only footprints. And we do have a bit of a treat today, folks. Again, if you can look off to the left, off to the west, you'll see a mountain that looks like someone's taken a big bite of it. That's Mount Bridgeland. A little bit farther to the left in the background, completely snow-capped and shaped like a pyramid, Mount Robson. Mount Robson is the highest point in the Canadian Rockies at 3,951 meters or 12,972 feet. We don't see it very often. About 10% of our running time, or about 30 days during our season. We have seen it the last couple of days because it's been so sunny. Before that, we hadn't seen it for over 2 weeks. To give you some perspective, the mountain range in front of it's 20 kilometers away. It's 75 kilometers away, almost 4 times the distance. To give you another perspective, take Pyramid Mountain behind us. Add the distance we've gone up on this tram, 1 kilometer to the top of it. That's how tall Mount Robson is. So we are slowing to come into our upper terminal. In the upper terminal itself, there are washrooms and a gift shop on the main floor. The second floor has our restaurant. Again, it has this nice panoramic view, and it does have a nice little menu, folks. Now, there are decks on both sides of the building. There are placards on the decks that will explain a little bit more about the area. Car 2 side will show you exactly where Mount Robson is. There's a boardwalk that takes you around the back of the building. If you go off that boardwalk, folks, you are off our property, off our lease, so we have no jurisdiction back there, okay? So if you decide to do that and you get into a situation where you need assistance, we don't have the authority to go back and help you. What we do is we inform Parks Canada. They make the decision on how they're going to